We're focused on growth advisors and helping with succession plans, advisors that are ready to retire in about 5 years. They want to sell a portion of the business, continue to participate in its growth and transition, and then hand off to a generation of maybe more aggressive younger folks that are up and coming. There seems to be a gap between the folks that have been doing it for a while and the new folks. One of the things that's really interesting is the influence on private equity over the business. There are a lot of firms that probably about 5 years ago started to take an interest, a minority stake interest in the ADVs of some of these firms. And that influence has done a number of things. Number one, it's accelerated growth. It's brought a lot of new resources in the form of technology and marketing to bear. But it's also posed some cultural conflict, right? Because a private equity firm is typically looking to buy at one multiple, increase that multiple, and flip out of it. And so most of these advisors who are very client-centric are focused on doing the best things for their clients. And there's a little bit of a conflict there, but with multiples being so high, 15 to 20 multiples for firms above $1 billion isn't unheard of. There's this conflict of, do I take the money because my firm may be peaking in its value, or do I stay focused on dancing with the data I brought? So it's an interesting dance that's happening right now. And I think a lot of advisors are trying to preserve the cultures that they've built and the way they've done things while adopting to the fact that, hey, everything changes and we're moving towards a lot of new technology. AI is certainly playing a role. And so it's an exciting time to be in the business. I'm coming to this from a perspective of 15 years as an investment banker. And there's a very formal process that's usually run, and most deals take 6 to 9 months. I think number one, have a reasonable expectation of what your firm is worth. You have to look at why your baby is ugly, right? Do you have an old client base? Do you have a lot of small clients? Do you have a small growth rate? What are things that you can clean up and improve prior to a transaction to make yourself worth more? Because every dollar that ends up in your EBITDA increases by multiples of 10 or 15 to your bottom line in a transaction. So that's number one. Number two, there's a certain element of control that you have to give up in a transaction, right? You're taking money in exchange for giving up some control and allowing others who've built and done things to help you take it to the next level. So I think you also have to ask yourself, what am I going to do after this transaction, right? Do I want to retire? Do I want to get out fully? And have a plan for that. As a former iBanker, there are plenty of times where a client wakes up in the middle of the night 2 weeks before closing and says, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have a job anymore. Where do I go? What do I do? So, and golf isn't the answer. It's only a pastime. So I think those three things are key. I think it helps to have an intermediary on a larger deal who is familiar with the space, who has done M&A transactions. And I think sometimes it's helpful to have an idea of valuation so that you are kind of generally in a range, but also understand, and I'm sure most advisors do, it's not all about the money, right? It's about the cultural fit. Are you in alignment with the folks that are going to buy a piece or all of your firm? Is there a cultural fit from a technology perspective? Are you a tech-forward firm? Or are you more old school and your clients are older and more relational? How do you want to build it? And does that align with what your buyer wants to do? So I think there are a lot of cultural elements that really make a deal successful. And I think a lot of times the money can blind you to that reality.